Welcome back in, everybody. We are here with our final game of the night. We're going to be seeing Thrive take on the UNC'S, which is a battle for that #1 seed in Group B. And we've already seen Thrive play tonight. Didn't go too well as they lost a wild card, Aces 7-5 on Sky. A little chance for maybe some redemption. They've had some time to maybe think some things over. And this Group B, we saw how straightforward in that last one Group A is, but Group B, it is much more wide. Let's go ahead and take a look at our rosters, but we've already seen this Thrive team tonight. I don't think there's any changes, if I'm not mistaken, from these rosters. I'm really looking at aim key as we get into this one.
Yeah, aim key, Twist, Skunky, Kendall, Moses. And I'm actually thinking, like, Twist is usually the one you would have an eye on just because of how good he's consistently been for Thrive, whether that's been in Element 3, in the Element 3 quals, and now in XGS. He's been stepping up big. He's a big reason why Thrive have been very successful. So I'm also looking at Twist today to see if he can show up against UNC'S because this is a pretty important game for them in Group B.
Yeah, so I mean, Thrive, they lost their undefeated streak. They were 3-0, no overtimes. And then wildcard, they're literally living up to their namesake. They lose when you don't expect them to, and they win when you don't expect it to. You cannot predict them. They were the ones who were able to snap it earlier today. Looking at the UNC'S here, there are some names you recognize, and they've been causing all sorts of trouble in Group B.
Yep, they've been beating a lot of the normal T2 teams that we've been seeing. They beat Ariel on Chalet. That was a very close game in regulation, 7-5. They also beat Carnico. That wasn't really as close. It was a 73 win on Labs. And then after that, they kind of like plateaued a little bit, had a couple of really close losses and then a close win up against Wildcard Aces. Just yesterday, it went to max OT. And now coming in today against Thrive, who have just lost their game. This game theoretically should be very, very close just because of how tipsy-turvy both teams have been as of recently.
This is the UNC'S final game here for our regular season as they maybe try to back into this one. Now we're looking at our maps, and this is their last chance. Thrive do have a game tomorrow, so they might be able to even stir things up a little bit more, and it's going to be Night Haven. We're going right on back to Labs for this one. This is impressive. I mean, Group B, it looked like Aerial Rise, maybe Wildcard, Thrive. The UNC'S kind of came out of nowhere, and they've really just been showing out.
Yeah, I mean, even Carnico not being, especially Carnico not being up in the top 3 is like extremely surprising. I think they're towards like the bottom, if not in a playing position, then they're in like they're being threatened to being eliminated out of XGS Season 7. And then you have the UNC'S who have performed really well. Not a lot of expectations coming to them. They had their very first game against Boyceville, who, as of recently, just lost their previous game on the border against Chalkit, where they made some very obvious mistakes. And then when they played against the UNC'S, in the very first play day, it was a very close game on Clubhouse, 7-5, and then after that, the UNC'S kind of just like went on a tear. They kept winning game after game after game, and we're looking at them as a potential top 3 team. And every time somebody mentions the UNC'S just outside of the broadcast, people are like, the UNC'S are actually like a really good team. They've been like really serious this season, and people should keep an eye out for them.
Yeah, and you bring up Carnico. We haven't seen actually loads of them. They've got a game tomorrow, and then they got 2 games the following day. They got smacked by Thrive day 1. I think, what was that on? Was that on Cafe? Yeah, that was on Cafe. Then they did beat 7-7-4, and who else did they lose to? Then they got one other loss. To the UNC'S. So they lost to UNC'S.
Yeah.
They lost to Thrive, the 2 best teams, and then they beat 7-7-4. So who knows? We could see Carnico maybe just storm it back late in this one. I mean, really, Group B will not be decided until the last day. But looking at the bans here, Deimos is coming off the board. That's going to be an interesting one. I wonder if the UNC'S have seen something, maybe from earlier today. Who knows? But the Deimos going off. I'm curious, what do you think is the thought process on that?
I don't really know anybody from Thrive who plays Deimos a lot. I'm pretty sure, I don't think Twist does it. Maybe like literally anybody else besides Twist and AimKey. But Labs tends to be like a really good map for Deimos just because of the amount of vertical potential, and usually when you are playing defense, you have to do heavy offsite holds. Deimos could be the perfect counter to that by isolating players who are by themselves on the first and second floor roams. So I think taking away that piece of utility away from Thrive, who tend to be a very good team off of information alone, just by drone work, taking away that crucial piece of information off of the when they do go onto the attack, I think is a very good move from the UNC'S.
If UNC'S win this game, they will secure the #1 seed. And if Thrives lose, this Group B gets really interesting because you're still worrying about Carnico and all the games they've got. Chalkit are still floating around. I don't think they're going to be a factor, but then you've got Wildcard, you got Aerial Arise. There really is some dark horses still left to be played in Group B. And with an UNC victory, it really could spin this thing out of control. Or maybe Thrive can just give themselves that little bit of breathing room that they're going to also desperately need heading into their final game.
What?
It's going to be Thrive on the defense, and we're going to be seeing UNC's on the attack. Wait, a fuse? I just saw this. I just tied back in. There's a fuse being brought out. Not every... Okay. They got off the fuse. They're going to go Ash. Wonder if that will be something we see maybe later. Other than that, really, nothing's really jumping to me here, Chaka.
No, not to me neither. This seems standard from both teams. Of course, you have the UNC'S bringing a lot of utility, especially to try and see if they can get a quick entry over by IT or even towards the connector wall. That's why they have the Thatcher along with some soft breach potential. Either the Ash or the Buck will open up the soft wall once the Maverick is done tricking it. So you have things that are pretty default here from the UNC'S as well as from Thrive, who have the Azami to hold IT, mirror windows for when you have to back off of IT, you want to play it from a more longer reserved position. And so nothing here screams out non-default for me here from the UNC'S. So both teams making it very simple here in round number 1. And so far you already see the UNC'S using the blowtorch in order to open up the connector wall.
2 minutes down the round. Still nothing's happening just yet. There's more typing in chat in the game here than we've seen in terms of action. UNC'S are just slowly taking their time right now, and Twist is up close and personal with the mute shotgun. Might be able to get some damage done. Do they have any sort of drone or information on what's maybe potentially lying beyond that door frame? Yeah, and I think you're starting to see it really right now. They're getting this wall open. They've worked some thermite onto that. And they're going to get that IT wall start to open. So this defense is slowly starting to slip away for Thrive.
Yeah, but nobody's really being pressured at the moment. They had to use the Grim to open that up when they had a Buck and an Ash on the board here. Obviously, they're in two completely different positions with the Buck down below trying to make the CC area very hard to hold with the mirror windows up top. So once they do enough to pressure out the player inside of Warehouse, the Azami, then you at least have the soft vertical in order to pressure out the mirror and thus make a way inside of sight. But so far, the UNC'S haven't created an opening yet.
Oh, and finally, we're going to see that battle with Twist on the shotgun. Scary's going to come out on top, and now the UNC'S. Here they go. They're up 5-3. Scary, it shoots some bodies and putting some I'm sorry in the chat. Now, 3 players remain. Amkey, might be able to open something up and throw a C4 through. Does it connect? Nothing's happened yet in the kill feed. C4 hasn't been thrown. Still 5 players up for the UNC'S, but the time is now starting to become a big factor. Amkey connects with the C4. And now, they might have just delayed this push just a little bit. Are they going to read Amkey's position after this breach happens? I wonder if they roughly know what's happening. Oh, but the mute jammer comes through. It's going to stop that opening. Now there's only 20 seconds. Do you have a way into sight? Amkey is finally going to drop, so they figured out where he is. And it's all down to Skunky in a 1v4, but the clock is working his way. That's good aim from Skunky. He's going to find 1. Finds 2, but can't snap onto the 3rd. Overcooked a little bit there because the clock was on his side. And it's going to be a great round start for the UNC'S as they get it done on offense.
And honestly, that's why you use the Buck as well for soft vert, because like they just made everything so uncomfortable for Thrive in the end. When it looked like the UNC'S didn't really have a good opening, despite getting a kill in connector and electrical when Thrive were trying to trade each other out, you still had, and also because they also struggled to get the pillar wall open because there was a mute jammer on it, they still had that contingency plan with the Buck down below getting rid of the mute jammer, but then also killing the mirror on site, making the entry very hard there for the UNC'S when Amkey was alive in that very moment. So the UNC'S just did a very good job of establishing vertical control, making it very, very effective and threatening from Thrive, who did really nothing to go. They didn't do anything to stop it from happening.
First round goes the way of the Unks on offense, too, to add on top of that. We're going to be seeing a site change up coming in from Thrive, as well as an operator change up from the Unks. They've got Ram, Glass. We've been seeing a lot of Glass when we head to basement, as we did in that last series. Blitz, Thermite. Excuse me, not Thermite. Thatch. Well, their Thermite is there. I was looking at the Thatcher when I was saying that. Looks like they're going to try and get those basement walls open and get some smokes down and run on through. That has been the story of the day so far with these pushes.
We'll see if they can try to do that. It seems like they also want to establish some sort of vertical control up top, having the ram up above, and also dealing with the warehouse wall too to apply some pressure around this first floor. So now the Unks, the only way they will have to rotate, not the Unks, but if the only way they have to rotate, if there are any other Thrive players apart from Skunky and Storage, the only way they would have to rotate is down Exo stairs, because they can't just rotate through the hatch next to Animus, because by this point the breach might be open in Animus, and also the warehouse wall is open. You can already see they're setting themselves up just to go for this blitz play over by the first floor as they try and prepare for a direct take towards the site.
It's a little slow so far. We haven't seen too much progress, but Skunky is going to use the vert play to try and throw some smokes through. But hold on a second. Scary's going to get business, and he's going to get it done. Skunky's going to drop. There's a C4 play as well. More lineup from Scary. Is he going to have his blitz shield ready to go? It's now a 3v3. What does the progress look like? Twist is going to get a kill. These kills, I mean, they're going back and forth, and look at that. Candle able to see where the diffuser is, so he has some very important information, and they know roughly where Scary is, as he's going to be the last player remaining. A minute 20 left. A hatch dropped, and a good shot coming in from Twist. So Thrive, they're going to get back on the board after it was almost utter chaos there for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out where that BP was the whole entire round. I could have sworn it said like assembly, which is where the Unks was trying to execute from. So the Thrive had like really good info throughout that whole entire round on that push from the Unks, who in turn had good info on what was happening around the site there from Unks or from Thrive. So both teams having good information on each other. It went back and forth in that round. The Unks could have almost had like a solid execute. Maybe if that Nitro Cell wasn't completed over by Exo from a Thrive player who eventually just killed one of the people just trying to walk in. So very good back and forth round from both teams that had like a wealth of good information for either one of them to capitalize on.
1-1. So far, early signs that this one does spell a dramatic closure to the day. Thrive is going to be going for the first floor site, so they don't really trust their second floor defense this time around. We'll be seeing a lot of traps come through with the Capcan and the Legion pick, trying to maybe catch out somebody on the Unks. And the Blitz is once again going to be brought to the party, as well as a Ying, so it's just going to be a bunch of screens going white, potentially for Thrive if they can't shut this down.
Also, they don't really have anything to counter the Ying play neither, like no Amai, Warden, not even a Jaeger, anything to work around the Candelas apart from just shooting them when they see them, which can be quite difficult to do, especially depending on how long they're being cooked for. Already you have some map control being established down below in the middle of basement for the Unks, just in case Thrive, when the Unks eventually do hit the storage side, if they can, if Thrive were to go down below and attempt like a play with the Nitro Cell to try and work around the plant, they can't do that anymore because there's going to be a player down below to fully counter them.
Thrive putting a lot of emphasis on the upstairs presence. So much vert has been made. One of those mirrors got stomped out. It's going to be just that little bit more left on them, but Mills for the Unks. He's trying to come in from basement on the sledge, trying to do something, but he's already hit the first traps. There's already some Candelas coming through as well. He's pulled out that Legion mine, and it's a Claymore that's going to find Twist. Unks now in the 5v3 situation. What's the collapse going to look like from the rest of these teams? Are they going to try and speed this up? They do have plenty of time, and that is the Ying down. We talked about how Zolaris might be able to impact, as well as Scary dropping. So now Thrive, they found a way back into this one. How much information has been given over to this team? Skunky, he knows something's going on. He does have a ping. Can he shoot it down? He's actually going to have some help from Moses So immediately, the Unks are now the ones who are down a man. It's a 3v2 in favor of the defense. Dead and Mills. Is there anything they can really get into this? Oh, are they going to read Dead's positioning on the flank here? I think he might have just heard a sound cue. He's making a lot of noise over towards that window well. And now, yeah, Skunky is up to the business. He's like, all right, something's happening on over here. Minute on the clock, and the Unks, they show that they want to push, and then they kind of just back up a little bit. 2 players now, they don't have the fuser, so they got to do some work. And, oh, there's another Legion mine that they're just going to step right on into. That's going to be a pain all day. However, aim key is down, so he can't throw any more that he's going to gather throughout his time alive. But some play from the vert is going to shut down Dead. And does Mills know where this last player is? 2 players on the vert this time around. Shut down despite Moses falling. And it's just continuing to go back and forth. And that was a round where it didn't look like it was going to go for the Younks, but the Thrive, they just bounced back perfectly into that.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, the Unks never really had a plan for what to do with top floor besides they didn't even throw any Candelas up on top floor, actually. I think the Ying was just outside of the forklift window. Either way, they never really dealt with the top floor pressure. And so, again, when it came time for them to execute, when they were just trying to walk in, they gave up so many picks to Thrive on the vertical angles, and it was just really easy from there to close it out. And I thought at first they were going to use the Yin Candelas to cause some distraction upstairs, and it didn't really pan out that way. They just kind of like went in, no warning, didn't really know what to do to go past the vertical angles besides throwing smokes under it. But even then, good info from Thrive closes out that round pretty quickly, and so now the Unks are going to have to attack into the second floor again. And to be fair, the Unks have looked quite strong in this game against Thrive, who have also looked quite strong, and so it's been like a really good game to watch because it's been so back and forth.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. This game has been a tight contest between these sides. Unks, they got it done last time around, trying to attack the second floor. I'm going to do it again. It looks like Skunky might get aggressive on this barricade and maybe try and go for a peek, but he's got like no real audio cues. Is he going to hear somebody on the staircase? I think he might have backed out. It looked like the buck was going to come into play, Mills, but he goes for another route. So still, it's a 5v5. Haven't seen anything crazy happen too yet, and I don't think the operators are crazy. This looks pretty standard from both of these teams.
It's the same thing that they were running last time when Thrive were playing the same exact site. The Unks did so well last time around, so they're trying the same thing again. The only thing that's different is they brought an extra hard breach partnered with the Maverick, and I'm not too sure who the ace has been switched out for, or who the ace has been switched in for, rather. But what is really evident is the fact that they've gotten open the connector wall really, really early. That applies a lot more pressure to this extended hold from Thrive if they were to do it. They can't do that no more because that wall is wide open. So now you give yourself an extra angle to work with for the Unks. You make Scary's entry a lot easier going through the meeting hallway if he were to try that same play again like he did last time.
Thrive, they're just waiting right now. Like, hey, is anybody seeing the Unks? Have they made any pushes in? We do see some Maverick holes, but outside of that, the Unks haven't made a load of progress into this site. It looks like Twist is going to be the first line of defense as he's sniffing a lot of action happening towards that server door, or excuse me, the electrical window. He's going to have to deal with this at some point, and that is one of the most dangerous hop-outs because you're always worried about that Claymore that might be sitting on that window. So he's electing to play very passively right now, whereas Mills, he's trying to get some vertical play underground. That was a big, huge reason why they were able to win that last round, is they were able to just come from below and open up that flooring. Might be the skeleton this time around to be the difference maker. Zolaris putting some shots in. 40 seconds left, though. You got to get moving if you're the Unks. No one's died yet. They found somebody with the Grim Bees. It's Twist who they're going to able to find out where he is and pounce on him. Now 30 seconds remain. And Thrive, the defense is slowly starting to crumble, but you just have to hold on if you're Thrive. The potential to go up 3-1 unless the Unks can get something going. Mills is shooting through the floor, but does he get the knock? No. Aimkey now dropped down to 45 HP, but the trade comes through. Moses is going to kill. Zolaris is planting the diffuser. Is anyone going to be able to stop them from Thrive? And finally, Skunky's going to be paid for his patience, waiting for that rotation coming from Mills. And it's going to be now a 3v3. Diffuser down. Thrive have to make a move back into sight. Dolaris, last players remaining. What is this? Skunky and Candle. Can they hold this down? Thrive is coming on through. They have to maybe get a collapse. Do they know where Zolaris is? Zolaris finds one. Now they know his location. Here comes the swing. It's not going to happen. Diffuse is going to come through. And Thrive clutch up the defense to go up 3-1. And they're looking much better than we saw them when they played against Wildcard earlier.
And honestly, that just seemed like too chaotic of a round there for the UNC'S, who originally had like a really good opportunity to win that round just based off of what looked like a really good solid plant. You had some like solid post plant positions established, but certain UNC players were very impatient. The player down below, as the Buck, just kind of like went way too early up Aqua, I believe. And then you also had the IT player who got dealt with pretty quickly too. And despite the good utility management that the UNC'S had in the early and the mid round, where they were establishing some good early control, they were pushing Thrive back. I mean, they got a Grim B assist kill onto the tuck corner player with the Mossberg, using the Grimbees and allowing Stud to just, or Scary rather, to walk on in with the Ash and get a kill from E-Box. And the UNC'S just never really lived up to the potential of that round being a firm win for them, just because of how impatient some players were in their post-plant positions.
Despite that first round coming through for UNC'S, they are now down in the hole after 3 rounds for Thrive, back to back to back. We are going to be heading to basement where Thrive begin this run. It's a little bit different from this lineup here. We're also seeing the UNC'S maybe go for a little bit more of a roam clear with that Dokkaebi and the Jackal. So I'm curious if they saw that Vigil and they're like, all right, we have to just get rid of it. I'm curious how fast it's going to be from UNC'S to get rid of this. But wait a second, Twist. Meanwhile, he's found 2 kills, all dead on that staircase. Nobody checked where that window hop-up might happen. And Twist roaming play comes to fruition. They get rid of the Jackal. They get rid of the Ram. Those are some big operators. It's really now only the Dokkaebi that can get rid of this roam clears, if anything. But great start to life for Thrive.
And honestly, Thrive can just like back off here and just they don't have to overcommit and play for some of the control. You still have some players trying to play around the first floor area. I mean, to be fair, I don't blame them for doing that neither, because you lost a wealth of information here for the UNC'S, but you still have the Dokkaebi on play with another phone call, and that could potentially, if Thrive end up getting too aggressive here in this extension, they could make them pay for it just by using a single digit on the phone.
Minute 40 now on the clock. UNC'S, they are so... The momentum is just completely going against them right now. The last Dokkaebi call is going to be used by Scary. Can they find an opening off of it? Twist has been a pain for UNC'S this round, and he continues to survive. Got the shotgun in hand, but nobody really wants to challenge him over this side of the map. The UNC'S are trying to go for a little bit of a roam clear / get some vertical play on the top floor. But finally, the UNC'S are going to get a kill, bringing this one to a 4v2. Going to find Candle. That's... Now, ooh, the EMP hits Skunky. And here comes the execute. They're just going to hop right on through. He does have the diffuser. But do you trust only one man to try and guard against 4 players? Moses, he might be the first line of engagement. Can't get that kill to happen. Stun and Scary both combined. It's now a 2v2. However, Stun's just falling. That's diffuser down as well. Scary has to make a rotation play for it. He's going to grab and go. Running through the hole. He's going to maybe make the play here. He has these 2 players split, but he's sandwiched right now. Not going to happen. Aim key clutches up. Thrive. They're up 4-1. It's just continuing to go Thrive's way.
Yeah, and that time it just came down to Thrive getting the early kill, or the early 2 double kills from Twist on that roam by Forklift Hall. The UNC'S never knew that was a possibility, and thus their information game was like really, really weak when it came to doing the rest of their roam clear. They couldn't do it as effectively, so then they try and go for an on rush play. And because of the overcommitment, I wouldn't even say overcommitment, but how do you say it? The big commitment on the roam game from Thrive to still retain that position up on the first and second floor, the UNC'S just spotted a gap by EXO once they killed the Solus, who was over-aggressing on the hatch. They try and go for a rush play, establish some control inside of sight, get 2 picks. but they still don't really know where the last two Thrive players are retaking from, and that kind of just bites them in the butt in the end. So now Thrive 4-1 up, really good position here on Labs, but to be fair, I'm not too surprised because Labs tends to favor the
The
defense most of the
defense.
time. Yeah, holy crap.
And I was literally just gonna bring that up. If this does end 4-2 for the Unks on a defensive round for Thrive, that's not bad. Like that's a decent split right there. So this is a big round, despite what is being established for Thrive as a massive advantage. They've got these 4 rounds in a row. 5 would be a very, very good half for Thrive. Can they find the last defensive round? We are going to be heading to first floor. Cap Can Legion, it's more trap type style coming in for Thrive. It looks like the Unks are going to try and go from below and make sure everything's cleared out before they head on over towards the site.
Again, it seems like the Unks have at least gotten the exterior walls open. Last time they tried the same strategy, sending someone down below and then readjusting to go more towards the control room area, but that didn't work out because they never really cleared the vertical angle. So this time it could be just more of a direct take. They could be going for the same thing over and over again, and it seems like they are. Some rotations are known. Millis is now in tanks. He could go up the cargo stairs, but this time the Unks seem to have more of a pointed focus around clearing this second floor, and they certainly do have the information, aided by not only their drone work, but also having melees on this Dokkaebi. So this should be a big help to them now that they're going for the roam clear, trying to clear these vertical angles.
Twist is going to spot the first opponent. Zolaris, unaware of what was happening over towards Electrical, and he's going to be punished for it. Now they know that there's a lot of things going on upstairs, the Unks, and they still have some focus on that vertical play. It's now going to be brought back to a 4v4 as aim key gets found out. Minute 14 left on the clock. The Unks, they've got some time to maybe work for something, but they've got to move. Skunky gets very aggressive on the window well, but immediately traded out. Diffuser now picked up by Scary. It's just a little hop, a game of hopscotch over that window. Oh, he's going to fall. Is there some vertical play that shut him down? He was trying to get that diffuser in towards sight, but it's not going to work out. And the Unks, they're going to have this one to a 4-2 split despite Thrive's best efforts on the half.
Yeah, and honestly, that time they did a bigger commitment towards the second floor, and despite losing the opening pick, the Unks did a very good job of just trading each other out, especially when the round got slightly hotter. And because Thrive kept losing more bodies, they eventually lost a body onto the storage site. Specifically, you saw the last 2 players alive try to get aggressive onto the IT breach because they knew that if they got control of IT, they would get control of the vertical angles. They'd have an opportunity to stop the Unks from trying to execute in either storage or even a control room area, because they still have some control over the rest of the second floor as well. So it was a very good job that time from Unks to put more pressure around the second floor hold, force a lot of movement from Thrive, especially in the late round when Thrive were trying to retake into IT, even with the IT breach being open and a player standing right outside of it.
We're going to be switching halves now. Unks are just hanging on in there. And you talked about how defensive heavy this map is. A 4-2 split will be good for them. Can they maybe replicate a little bit of that success from Thrive? This time around, we're going to be seeing a different look from the Unks. We're going to be seeing Goyo, Bandit, Cade as well. And a Boss G coming in on the Vigil. Oh, and look at this. Scary. He's going to get very aggressive. Oh, but Bahrain coming in. And he's not going to be able to connect those shots. Yeah, and I think you can see a little bit of frustration as he spins his mouse. And that was an opportunity for the Unks to continue that momentum coming out of halftime. With Thrive, they're going to have a little chance to maybe just rethink things and be like, whoa, okay, we've got some players that are scouring around upstairs.
Yeah, and like you said, that run out just gives a lot of information on where the Unks actually are. Like with this heavy roam game that they have on the second floor specifically, that tells you that there is a roam game here that is established and that Thrive need to clear it. But the issue is, actually, no, they're not sending in one player by themselves. It seems like they are going to pinch onto the second floor. One player moving in through top Aqua, and then the other moving in through meeting. And it's the person from top Aqua, Twist, who finds Smith's kill onto the visual, weakening this second floor roam game that the Uncs have, leaving Scary all by himself.
Oh, man, and that makes it so sad for Scary on what that missed opportunity could have meant. Sta is going to pay for it. Still a decent amount of time in this round for Thrive, and they already have one. They still are trying to worry about those players that are upstairs, but they found an opening. Finding Mills. That's Candle who's going to get the pick, increasing his tally to 7. Just right behind Scary, who's also leading the line in this lobby. But the Uncs, they're under a lot of pressure right now, and there's more raining from above. Candle's going to find a kill. But where is Scary? He was upstairs as he retreated towards site. Solaris is on site, but boy, oh boy, dude, the walls, the floors, everything is opening from up above you. Twist is going to make hell rain down from above, but Scary, he's left the site. Now there's some good aim coming in from him. He's going to find one, but there's 4 remaining, and the diffuser is going down. What do you have in your locker? This would be one hell of a clutch to bring this to 4-3. Thrive, they need this round to reset some of this momentum. And Scary's got a first man lined up, but surely he's got this one going for him. He just has to clutch. He's actually going to go outside. He's trying to make a play. What is going on here? He's taking one heck of a round, and it seems like everyone now is trying to chase him down. Is he giving up on the round? I don't know what's going on. I've never seen this type of rotation come through. The Olympics are over. Okay. The dude's just running laps at this point.
Station.
Yeah.
Dude is just running to the gas station like... like that brother was not trying, dude. He was not. Anyways,
I cast like a lot of COD, right? And sometimes when the round is over and you're like about to get a score streak, you just play your life, something like that. You run away because you're like 1 kill off of getting a score streak. There's no score streaks. I didn't get what was going on there. I'm like, what are you playing? Like, just try. Have fun here. Oh, is there something going on? Do we have to chalk around? Do they need a timeout?
Yeah, they needed a timeout. We couldn't provide.
I don't know what's going on. They're playing, but they're typing in chat also.
The Uncs wanted a timeout, and they got clouded.
Aired.
I don't know what that means. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got aired.
And say, why do people make up like new terms all the time? Just say aired. Just say that.
I used my context clues for that one.
Oh, that's fair. I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, is that like a new way to say we got denied? Is that a new way to say something completely different? I mean, you know what? That previous round though did showcase something that's really good about Thrive. Their early round to mid round information is always really good. They have some of the best pre-placed drones that I've ever seen in Element, and they've been able to really capitalize off of good drone work just by being not only good individuals but also just being very smart with their drone placement. And they showcased it in that round when they went for that roam clear, knowing everything about the Unc setup just from a single run out, but also because of good drone work. So now this time around it's going to pose a big issue for the Uncs, and they have the mute in order to counter some of the information gathering tools that Thrive will have through way of the drones.
And now I'm wondering if in their mind they were thinking like, okay, we're gonna have a timeout, so maybe they were trying to think about like, all right, what should we talk about during this timeout? And then they kind of got rushed into this round. It's now a 4v4. Speaking of rushing, Thrive seems to be doing all of the pushing. They already have a pretty good chokehold on towards this site. There's a 3v3. We haven't even hit the 2-minute mark. We are gonna finally see Moses use his final ace charge. And oh my goodness, the drone hole. I don't think it got the kill, but it was so close to maybe potentially resulting in something. And it looks like this round is going to breathe just a little bit. Thrive is now going to hop on towards these drones. And Sta is going to be the first player who's going to be trying to be spotted on the side of the Uncs. Minute 40 now on the clock. Thrive are really putting this one on the brakes after what was an electric start. There's some damage going down. Moses has taken a little bit of damage. Does Dead know that there's somebody on the other side of that wall? At Chaka, this one, I mean, it's completely flipped. What went from berserk to a standstill.
Yeah, and you can tell Thrive are kind of very scared about where they want to push from. Even the player who was originally looking towards blue, which is a push that I would have agreed with to apply more pressure to this, because they're going for a very front-sided take with these crossfires that Thrive or the Uncs have set up towards site, so they can't just walk in through breach here.
I think Zolaris just got a kill through the drone hole, because I'm pretty sure Twist just crouched on it and he was able to spot him out. Massive kill there from Zolaris. And it looks like that timeout won't cost him too much. Dead shuts him down with the shotgun from Cade. Big bounce back round from UNC'S, and they said it like, hey, we don't want a timeout now that we've won that. My thought process was like 5-2 is a great time to call a timeout. So they're not going to. Yeah, we don't need to pause. All right, phew. I got scared there for a second. They were getting an unwanted timeout that time around. So now UNC'S, they've established a little bit of momentum. So it looks like they've found their feet a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean,
Maestro.
even then.
Sorry, I saw a Maestro and I got excited. Continue.
Oh, that's fair. I was gonna say, like, even in that last round, you know what? They didn't give Thrive much to work with. They played very disciplined in a late round, coding or crossfire on the entry point that they knew Thrive were coming from, which was IT Breach Interactors, because Thrive in a 3v3 didn't want to split themselves up too far away from each other, so they didn't want to send anybody towards blue because they didn't have enough info on that position, and they just didn't want to walk in without enough info, thus giving away a free pick to the UNC'S. Whereas if you just kind of like walk straight in, maybe the UNC'S will give you something to work with. They didn't, and so Thrive kind of paid for that with round loss. So now this time around, UNC'S will be playing into a tertiary site, first floor, control room, and storage. And so you have to see what Thrive come up with in order to circumvent another round loss, potentially put themselves on match point.
The UNC'S, they want to secure #1 spot with this win. They're starting to make that comeback happen. They didn't get that timeout in the last round that they wanted, and they're actually going to elect now not to use it following that round win. Very aggressive from Scary onto that door frame. He might be able to pop out potentially or just kind of hold it, make sure nobody pushes through and causes any ruckus on the site window. But so far, Thrive, that last round was very aggressive, and then they backed up. It felt like to me like they gained the map, and then they like allowed the I gotta forget their name, the UNC'S to just have some space more, and it was really a little confusing. So kind of gifted a route back into that one. Oh, and the Brava hacked that Maestro cam, so that was a really good hack, forcing them to destroy it. But still, 5v5, 2 minutes on the clock. Now we're going back to a little bit more slow of a pace.
Yep. Thrive are just trying to get themselves set up on the top floor. The only person who can really stop the top floor control, it's by himself. Solaris over by Aqua Stairs, and they don't even care about him. They kill the only player on the storage site, and that's big because Thrive have a lot of control over the second floor, including IT.
Is it going to be something for Thrive to maybe capitalize on with Scary drop? Is the UNC'S going to try to make a reposition? It looks like Solaris goes for the kill. Does find one, but he has been traded out. Moses is going to get a double. Moses is finding a way back into this round for his team. Now dead. Will the Maestro finds one. What else can he work with? It's a 3v2. Mills left in this one. The site control is fully in favor of Thrive, but Mills will be able to spot something if they try to get that diffuser down with his lens on Solus. But here comes the diffuser. I don't think they have audio cue. No one's really got an audio cue. Actually, no, I think maybe Dead does, but he's being watched by on the vertical play. Gonna try a different angle. Is the grenade throw gonna work? 1, 2, comes through! What is roll from Dead? And now it's a 1v1. Skunky and Dead. Dead has to play his life. Maybe he can run away. He chipped up a Skunky. It's a reach out. 39 to 38 HP. It all comes down to this. What a way back into this one. A beautiful throw, throwing it through the tightest of angles, Patrick Mahomes style. Dead. Does he hear the diffuser? Yes, he does. He's going to start to make the approach. But the diffuser should be going down. He might be able to get the kill. Nonetheless, no! Skunky clutches! And Thrive lift to tell the tale of what would have been almost a miraculous comeback from the UNC'S. Ahoy, Thrive barely hang on in that one in the 1v1 despite best efforts from the UNC'S. And it's match point for Thrive to make it juicy towards the top. Remember, the UNC'S can secure the #1 spot in their Group B with a win. Thrive, they want to upset so bad and get up there.
Honestly, just like a nail biter of a round too, because I was like sitting here, I was even showing my nails like physically, so that made me extremely nervous, especially when UNC'S got themselves like back into it with like a quick 2K from 2 different players. The UNC'S almost could have had it, but trade game there from Thrive almost immediate after one of the other 2 players died. And then, unfortunately, the sound cue, just because Maestro is a 3 armored, unfortunately, he just gives away the sound cue. You get the plant down and then immediately swing off of that just because he's slightly slower. You kind of have to react off of that sound cue a lot sooner, and he didn't think that he was quite sticking it yet. So now that Thrive are on match point, I mean, this doesn't really do much in terms of like what UNC'S have accomplished so far, achieving playoffs and a top 2 position. But still, you'd want to win this game, especially after Thrive lost theirs, to further your position up top and certainly make more of a statement than you've already had, because I think the UNC'S have done quite enough this season when it comes to making a statement and showing people how good they have been.
Oh, 100%. 100%. They really have shown out on this stage. And now it's Thrive who are 1 round win away from potentially outdoing that. Dead will get one of the walls, Bandit Trick, but not the big wall. Twist has found the kill. It's 4 kills away. 1 round for Thrive. And they can maybe storm for that top spot. Aim key's going to fall. So now it's all down to, hold on, UNC'S now. They found 2 quick back-to-backs. There's still 2 minutes left in this round, but the UNC'S are taking the fight to them. And it all comes back on the back of that breach. Thrive do still have the diffuser in hand, but the UNC'S are making waves.
Now that the UNC'S have gotten like their 2 picks, and on top of that, have just like backed off, they're not going to try and give up any free picks here to Thrive. So Thrive need to find some of these isolated picks back in their favor and see if maybe they could try and work something here. They can't even get the Animus breach open, for God's sakes, because they don't have any more hard breaching grounds neither. So their entry options are very limited to where they can come from. They can really only come from either the hatch, the main breach, or through the exo stairs, which is where all of the Thrive players have kind of split off into.
This shotgun on the Brava, I mean, you got to get to work with it. Start trying to figure out where everything is. What is the drone play also looking like from Thrive? I would try to maybe get some information going for Skunky to maybe help him out with what he's trying to do. But I think Dead knows roughly what's going on. Moses finds one. He's going to be traded. It's now a 2v3 still in favor of the UNC'S. The defense stands tall. Oh, and the diffuser is going to go right back to Skunky. 45 seconds now on the clock. Mills doesn't have a lot of HP, but he is playing towards that first floor. Great aim from Candle. Immediately centering onto his opponent. 2v2. Mills playing upstairs. Scary playing downstairs. Here comes the plant. Skunky is going to go for it. But he's now going to be the last player remaining. Still the diffuser in his hand. He knows where one of these players is, but does he know where Mills is? Yeah, the swing from Mills is going to shut that down. We now move to, I believe, 6-5. It blanks my brain. But the UNC'S, like we've said, this is the defensive favored map. But we continue to fight back into this. And it looks like we have a tech crash coming in on the side of Thrive. So we will have a little bit of a tech pause. Or excuse me, this is a 6-4 in the round count. So you get a little chance to maybe breathe things and take some time. Thrive is having some tech issues. Who was that who left? I'm totally spacing. Who was the player we were missing? Was it Aim Key?
No. Skunky.
Oh, Skunky. So Skunky, he's going to take a little trip into the PC repair or whatever's going on in his end. Maybe his game crashed. Maybe it was something simple. But the defense, it's slowly working in. But Thrive right now, they're doing great.
And be fair, like even in that last round, like one thing that I was like praising a lot of the times for Thrive was like the information game, and that time they just didn't really have much information to protect their flanks when it came time for the UNC'S to activate inside of that round. And now that Skunky's back, we can get started with the game, and the UNC'S can try and like see if they bring more rounds back, because that time it seemed like in that round the Thrive just got like slightly careless with their information. They got the opening pick by Forklift, and then after that we saw like a flurry of kills happen from UNC'S, specifically from players playing on the second floor and then flanking on the first, and Thrive had no information coverage to figure out that was actually happening. So now we're going to be going to the second floor here for the UNC'S. Basement is known more since they actually won it. And this game is getting slightly closer, especially if the UNC'S can win this round, because then they'll just be only 1 round away from putting us into OT.
I think even an OT win, the 2 points that the Unks would get, it'd bring them to 14. Yeah, so even an OT win for the Unks is all good. They just need to get it done here. So it's not all over just yet. And what would the point, if Thrive were to lose in overtime, what would the point do for them? They'd go to 10. I think that would secure them inside the playoffs, top 3. So Thrive, they're in a good position right now. But they want to take that number 1 spot, and they're 1 round away from doing so. Oh, scary, aggressive, as always. Shuts it down. Ooh, boy, Twist is going to fall. Scary now with 13 kills leading the lobby. This dude is on fire.
And you know what? Scary did that same exact play last time. He got punished for it, of course, by being immediately traded out for the Yonks, and that gave away to quick Raptors control. He doesn't immediately die. Nobody is there for Thrive to immediately trade him out, and so now you still have the Azami on Raptors while getting the very first kill of this game. It's immediately traded out, or eventually traded out by Thrive, but Scary hitting some nice shots. Candle is taken care of, and they've taken care of a very powerful player here for Thrive, getting 2 picks off of being aggressive, and Thrive just not expecting it.
Yeah, Scary going to town, adding another to his resume. Advantage defense, a minute 50. Whoa, Scary dropped down to 7 HP. Skunky is going to step on a mine, and he is taking damage, but he's not going to elect to pull it out. Now he's going to do so, but he's dropped down all the way to 22 HP. It's a 3v3. You've got your hard breaches still alive, so if you need to open up some walls, which it looks like they're going to go ahead and do so, Dolaris, that's not going to stand there for that much longer. Should be getting popped by the ace charge. Actually, no, it's muted. So nothing's going to really happen there. But Skunky, he's dropped all the way to 22 HP. A minute 20, Thrive. What is the play?
Send some Grim Bees up and see if they can get some information on Amir's position. That forces her to back up. But she can just still play on the hard flooring and play behind the mirror window, so that doesn't theoretically do nothing. But establishing the vertical control means that they pop the mirror window, so you can't play this as effectively. That gives Thrive a really good advantage towards the Raptors' position, because that mirror window is no longer, and they could probably just challenge or aggressively counter any of the gunfights that the Unks try and force their way.
45 seconds on the clock. The Unks, they're holding on for dear life. Thrive. They can do it right here, right now, but they've got to find the execute. The glasses are going to come on. Mills is going to temporarily escape that, but he still is feeling a lot of pressure coming through. Oh, 2 players are going to start swinging him, and he knows it, and he's going to fall. Thrive, they might have the opening to get it done here and now and fight for this first spot tomorrow. Skunky finds the shots. It's all down to Zolaris.
Ooh.
And it can't happen. Thrive, take the map 7-4. And the Unks will finish on a loss, but it is still a very impressive season here in XGS Season 7 for the Unks. I mean, what a performance. I think they, what did they finish on? 12 points. 12 points. There's some strong teams in Group B. They might not finish first. It depends on what happens with Thrive at 7-7-4 tomorrow. But you got to give a round of applause for those guys. What a performance in a round. And now we head to our last 2 days. Thrive, they have secured top 3. But this Group B, it is going to get very interesting as we develop.
Yep, next 2 days are going to be extremely interesting for Group B. And for this matchup, honestly, good on Thrive to actually close it out towards the end, because I wasn't too sure, considering how similar that situation looked to a previous round of Second 4. They couldn't force their way in because it was only Warehouse and IT. That time they actually worked the blue pressure, succeeded, killed the only player back there, and they just suffocated the mirror inside of sight because they already popped their mirror window, and using the Grimbees did a very good job of zoning her out. So very good game from both teams, and it was as close as it could have gotten, to be fair to the Youngs. And yeah, really good game to end the night off on.
Yeah, I think you said it perfect. At the top 2 teams in Group B going toe-to-toe on Nighthaven Labs. Thrive come out on top. And folks, we've been saying it all day long. There's more games coming your way. And it's getting very, very, very difficult in these groups. We still have some drama that needs to be settled before we play these play-ins. And you can be right back here tomorrow watching those games. So make sure to tune in. But that's going to do it, folks. We are done here. My name's Rodro. Joins me today was Chaka. And that's all. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure to tune in for the rest of the week. We've got plenty more coming your way. And until next time, take care.